Hello, my name is Steve. You may know me as the YouTuber who does serious tips and advice videos about Curse of Strahd and Ravenloft. But today, I'm doing something very silly. This is a very different type of video, because I translated the Tome of Strahd up to 500 times, and I'm going to read out the results. First of all, spoilers warning for Curse of Strahd. If you are a current or pending player of a Curse of Strahd campaign, you probably shouldn't watch this, because I'm talking about something that leads to spoilers. It's a bit of a lore drop about the titular villain, so this is your warning. First of all, I'm going to talk about how I got the idea and the methodology and a few things like that. So if that doesn't interest you, feel free to skip ahead to the main event. You should see timestamps in the description or in the time bar where you can jump ahead and just watch the readings. I've done multiple. The first one is just me reading the Tome of Strahd as it appears in the book, and then I translated it multiple times to multiple degrees. And so there's multiple readings. Came up with the idea because one of my kids showed me a YouTube video of the Super Mario Brothers movie having been translated 1,000 times, or maybe it was just the trailer of the movie, and it was pretty funny. And when I got the idea of potentially doing something like it for Curse of Strahd, at first I thought about the back of the book blurb, bit of information on the back of the hardcover, but then I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if there's like a really big, important piece of text that I can do this on? And then I remembered the Tome of Strahd. The Tome of Strahd is an item / MacGuffin that the players can get hold of. It's essentially Strahd's journal, just a few pages of it are legible, and it essentially gives information about his backstory, before he became a vampire, his obsession with Tatiana, the murder of his brother, how he became a vampire, and talks about some vampire weaknesses, like where his coffin is hidden in his castle. In terms of the methodology, I knew that doing it manually a few hundred times just wasn't doable, so I looked to find the automated solution. I found a few, some of which didn't work at all. I found one that didn't work. I put in the first paragraph and it only translated the first line. The first line is "I am the ancient," and it just translated it to "I'm old." So that was no good. Then I found a great one that was really funny, but it seemed to be too good to be true because I put the text in almost straight away. It gave back a completely mishmashed version. But then I read the small print and said it was generated by AI. Now, I don't want to get into the ethics of using AI or not using AI, but I don't like AI and I don't like using AI, so I chose not to use that version. So that was also no good for my purposes. Then I sat on this idea for a couple of months. I was like, I'll come back to this idea another time when I have time. And I found a tool that translated it, but I had to just put it in stages. Like if I put the whole text in, no good. But if I put in like a paragraph or a few lines at a time, it would be a bit slow, but it would do it. So I spent about an hour or so putting in just smaller chunks, and eventually I got it to work. At first I translated it 100 times, and then I decided to try 250 and 500. And it's hard to say which is the best, so I'm going to read out all three, and you'll have to let me know which one you prefer. Because the more times it gets translated, the sillier and funnier it becomes, but it also becomes shorter. Because I think sometimes with some of the translations, you might have two words, they're merged together, or a word is cut. So you'll notice that when I read the 250 and 500 translation times, the sentences in the paragraphs are a lot shorter and quicker to read. To make it funnier, I'll read it as seriously and dramatically as possible, like how I read it for my players in my own game, and I'll do it in my Strahd voice. I'm a fan of a sort of irritated, noble voice, as opposed to, say, the "I want to suck your blood" Transylvanian voice that some DMs do. And I'm going to have Tabletop Audio's Defiled Temple track behind me. I did a video where I talk about my music selections for Curse of Strahd and talked about Tabletop Audio in that. And it's the music I used when I read out the Tome of Strahd, and then also when my players explored Castle Ravenloft. I'll start by reading out the actual raw rules as written Tome of Strahd as it appears in the book for comparison's sake, and then I'll do 100 times, 250 times, 500 times. If it helps, feel free to turn on captions. I've manually updated them to make sure they're correct, so I think it's listed as English United Kingdom. And without further ado, I hope you enjoy. I am the ancient, I am the land. My beginnings are lost in the darkness of the past. I was the warrior, I was good and just. I thundered across the land like the wrath of a just god, but the war years and the killing years wore down my soul as the wind wears stone into sand. All goodness slipped from my life. I found my youth and strength gone, and all I had left was death. My army settled in the valley of Barovia and took power over the people in the name of a just God, but with none of a God's grace or justice. I called for my family, long unseated from their ancient thrones, and brought them here to settle in the castle Ravenloft. They came with a younger brother of mine, Sergei. He was handsome and youthful. I hated him for both. From the families of the valley, one spirit shone above all others, a rare beauty who was called perfection, joy, and treasure. Her name was Tatiana, and I longed for her to be mine. I loved her with all my heart. I loved her for her youth. I loved her for her joy. But she spurned me. Old One was my name to her. Elder and brother also. Her heart went to Sergei. They were betrothed. The date was set. With words she called me brother, but when I looked into her eyes, they reflected another name, death. It was the death of the aged that she saw in me. She loved her youth and enjoyed it, but I had squandered mine. The death she saw in me turned her from me, and so I came to hate death, my death. My hate is very strong. I would not be called death so soon. I made a pact with death, a pact of blood. On the day of the wedding, I killed Sergei, my brother. My pact was sealed with his blood. I found Tatiana weeping in the garden east of the chapel. She fled from me. She would not let me explain, and a great anger swelled within me. She had to understand the pact I made for her. I pursued her. Finally, in despair, she flung herself from the walls of Ravenloft, and I watched everything I ever wanted fall from my grasp, forever. It was 1,000 feet through the mists. No trace of her was ever found. Not even I know her final fate. Arrows from the castle guards pierced me to my soul, but I did not die, nor did I live. I became undead, forever. I have studied much since then. Vampire is my new name. I still lust for life and youth, and I curse the living that took them from me. Even the sun is against me. It is the sun and its light I fear the most, but little else can harm me now. Even a stake through my heart does not kill me, though it holds me from movement. But the sword, that cursed sword that Sergei brought, I must dispose of that awful tool. I hate and fear it as much as the sun. I have often hunted for Tatiana. I have even felt her within my grasp, but she escapes me. She taunts me. She taunts me! What would it take to bend her love to me? I now reside far below Ravenloft. I live among the dead and sleep beneath the very stones of this hollow castle of despair. I shall seal shut the walls of this stairs, that none may disturb me. I am beautiful. I am clean. My experience is unclear. I am brave, kind, and honest. By the grace of God, I send light to the world, but war and death close my heart like the wind. I'm not pretty, but I'm young and strong. But I am a man, and I swear by God that my men will raise Glenford's army. So they have no mercy and no justice. Find your lost family and take them to Riviera Castle. My brother Sergei was with him. I hate good and bad. This family lived happily in a village house. Virtues are called fame, joy, and wealth. Her name is Tatiana, and I want her for myself. I love you with all my heart. I like it because it's new, but please let me know. I call him Rough, the Forest, the Old Man. My heart is pounding. It is called modern history. He called me Mom, but when I looked into his eyes, I saw something in his eyes. Then I saw that my ex-wife died. I like security, but I am alone. Death is far from me. I was sick and angry. There are many errors. I don't want to die. I killed Circe's brother on their wedding day and bloodied my heart. I saw Tatiana crying at the grave. She didn't ask me to leave. You should understand what I mean. She followed me to the palace and saw what I wanted. The length of the valley is 1,000 meters. I don't know if it will end or not. I don't know. After a few days, there is no result. Pain and fatigue. I learned a lot from you. The new name is Jean. I still want to live, but I blame those who left me when I was young. I was afraid of the sun, but now I don't regret it. Nothing can hurt me or protect me. But hold the sword, hold! Excellent course. I fear him, but I love him like the sun. I'm still looking for Tatiana. I was afraid, but she died. Hello, how do you show your love? I live in Worcestershire. I woke up under a stone in an old house. We have difficulty going up and down the stairs. The southwest side of the cave is also beautiful. Find courage, compassion and truth. We walk in peace with God, but war and death drove my heart away like the wind. I am not beautiful, but I am young and strong. But I took care of my husband and my father, and I gave them 5 trees. My brother Sergei is faster than you. I hate good and bad. Fortunately, the family grew up on a dairy farm. Sam means victory, Sam means courage. Because this is a new boss. They are called water, animals, people. Problems with steroids should be avoided. Mom, he called me. Something in his eyes. I know my first husband is dead. I want peace, but I'm lonely. Death is not far away. I'm sad and angry. I have many sins and I don't want to die. I killed my brother at Circe's wedding. My heart is full. I hid Tatiana. I don't want to go there. Follow me and find what you want. The length of this valley is 1,000 meters. I don't know if this is good or bad. The next day nothing happened. Pain and fatigue. My new name is Johnny. I want to live, but I want to teach those who abandoned me when I was young. I was scared that day, but nothing happened. No one was hurt or helped, but I can hold a knife. Good lesson. Hello, I love you. I love you. I want to see Diana. I am saddened by her death. How do you show your love? I live in Worcestershire. Unable to lift his legs, he lay down under a rock in the old house. I lived a unique, brave, kind and honest life. I love you, but I have to say I'm dead. I'm not pretty, but I'm young and healthy. He wants love and justice. Is Sergei faster than you, good or bad? Luckily, my family grew up on a farm and saved money. They are called water, animal, people, because a new culture has arisen. They prevent the side effects of steroids. Emma smiled, realizing that my fate had passed. I want peace, but death is not far. I don't want to die sad, angry and guilty. He killed his brother at Circe's wedding. My heart is full. Maybe I didn't go there. What do you think? This valley is located 1,000 meters above sea level. I don't think it's good or bad. No, I'm very tired this morning. This is my new name. I want to see what happens. I was shocked that day, but nothing happened. But I need help. Can I change the card? I love you, he said. I'm very saddened to hear of Diana's death today. How do you show your love? I live in Worcestershire. His feet hit the stone floor of the old building. So what did he think? Which was your favourite, or what were your favourite moments? You'll have to let me know. I think mine was the changes to the name Vampire. So I think it changes it to Jean, then Johnny, and then just says, this is my new name, but doesn't actually say the name. I thought that was brilliant. I also liked the bit where it said, I gave my husband and my father 5 trees. I thought that was very nice. If you're still watching, hello, my name is Steve, this is DM of the Mists. I usually do videos about Curse of Strahd and Ravenloft. I try not to do too many gimmicky and clickbaity videos. I have done 1 or 2 in the past. And I don't really do that many silly jokey videos like this one. So if you want more silly jokey videos, you might be disappointed. But if you are running or thinking of running Curse of Strahd or a Ravenloft campaign and you want some genuine tips and advice, feel free to subscribe or do a dive into my past videos. I tend to do a Curse of Strahd video, then a Ravenloft video, and so on and so on. My last video was Ravenloft. This is technically a Curse of Strahd video. For those of you who are Curse of Strahd fans thinking, oh, does that mean this was the video? No, my next video is going to be a Curse of Strahd video. This is essentially sort of like a bonus video in between the two. And hopefully I'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.